Tonight on TrendProof, 9 verified stories from a powerful Colombian earthquake to a NASA eclipse mission. Facts, context, and what matters next.
We begin in Colombia, where a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck near San Jose del Palmar on August 10th. The U.S. Geological Survey lists the depth at about 110 kilometers. That depth matters. It places the event in the intermediate depth range, inside the subducting Nazca plate, rather than at a shallow plate boundary. USGS estimated that about 10.5 million people experienced strong to very strong shaking. Its assessment also warned that damaging aftershocks could follow. Intermediate depth earthquakes can be felt across a broad region. They may reduce some of the most extreme surface motion close to the rupture compared with a shallow event, but they can still deliver strong shaking over a much wider area. Early reports on deaths and damage changed as authorities assessed remote areas. For that reason, this report will not treat any early toll as final. The verified takeaway is the scale of the quake, the depth, the widespread exposure, and the continuing need for recovery and aftershock awareness. The business signal in this 3-day report came from Taiwan, where Foxconn released second quarter results that put a number on the industrial side of the AI build-out. The company reported revenue of 2.53 trillion Taiwan dollars for the April to June quarter, up 41% from a year earlier. It reported net profit of 60 billion Taiwan dollars, up 35%, along with record second quarter revenue, operating profit, and net profit. Foxconn said continuing demand for AI server racks and cloud service provider investment supported its outlook. The broader point is not that every dollar in its cloud and networking business is an AI dollar. That category is larger than AI alone. But the company's release makes clear that advanced server demand is now central to its production plans, capital spending, and forecasting. For viewers, this is a reminder that the AI story is not only about software models or consumer apps, it is also a manufacturing story. Server racks, networking equipment, components, power, cooling, and the factories that assemble them. This is news analysis, not investment advice. In public health, the key principle is to read the most current official count and to understand what the number can and cannot tell us. CDC reported 2,566 confirmed measles cases in the United States in 2026 as of August 13th. The agency says those totals are preliminary and that states can have more current local information. CDC's page also reports that most confirmed cases were outbreak associated. The Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization had issued an August 7th alert describing increased measles activity in the Americas and calling for surveillance and vaccination activity. The responsible takeaway is not panic, and it is not a diagnosis for any individual viewer. This is public health context. For personal questions, symptoms, or local outbreak conditions, viewers should use their state or local health department and a qualified healthcare professional. TrendProof is recording the data and the sources, not offering personal medical advice. Severe weather was another major theme. The National Weather Service office in Indianapolis described multiple rounds of strong to severe thunderstorms and catastrophic flooding around August 12th. Its preliminary review said that more than 11 inches of rain fell in some locations during the multi-day event. A reported 2-day total near New Lisbon in Henry County reached 11.50 inches. Those totals help explain why a fast-moving storm can become a community-scale emergency. Rainfall at that level overwhelms drainage, cuts off roads, and can turn ordinary streets into dangerous moving water. State and local response actions were still evolving, so this report will not repeat any unverified number for rescues, total damage, or final emergency costs. The confirmed message from the weather record is direct. Official data were preliminary, impacts were serious, and any follow-up should rely on local emergency management and National Weather Service guidance. In maritime security, 2 commercial tankers affiliated with Abu Dhabi National Oil Company were reported damaged while transiting the Strait of Hormuz around August 13th and 14th. Maritime Reporting and United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations said 2 vessels sustained minor damage. The vessels continued under their own power, and reports said crew members were safe. The United Arab Emirates attributed the incident to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. That is an official UAE allegation, and it must be presented as an allegation rather than as an independently verified conclusion. Iran did not immediately issue a public response in the material reviewed for this report. Why does the incident matter? The Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most important maritime choke points. Even limited damage to commercial vessels can raise insurance, security, and supply chain concerns. The facts confirmed here are the reported vessel damage and the official attribution. The precise responsibility remains a point where careful attribution is essential. In Ukraine, the UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission reported that at least 437 civilians were killed and 2,610 injured in July. The mission said that represented a 30% increase compared with June and a 70% increase compared with July of the previous year. It also said the verified figures are likely an undercount because access to information in occupied areas is increasingly limited. The UN documented long-range weapons as the leading cause of civilian casualties in the month, with many incidents occurring far from the front line in urban areas. Its report also described civilian harm from aerial bombardment and short-range drones. These are not abstract numbers. They are a record of civilian impact that the UN says it has verified under difficult conditions. TrendProof will keep the visual presentation non-graphic. The point is to report what the UN documented, explain its limits, and keep the focus on protection of civilians. Back in the United States, FEMA announced on August 4th that federal disaster assistance was available to support Washington's response to emergency conditions caused by wildfires beginning August 1st. FEMA named Chelan, Ferry, Okanogan, Spokane, Stevens, and Yakima counties, along with several tribal entities in the declared area. That scope is important. A federal emergency declaration does not mean every county has the same designation or the same assistance. FEMA said the action authorized coordination of federal relief efforts and direct federal assistance for emergency protective measures under the Public Assistance Program. Washington officials also imposed burn restrictions amid elevated fire risk. In a fast-moving fire season, containment levels, acreage, evacuation orders, and damage figures can change quickly. This report, therefore, focuses on the confirmed federal declaration, its stated geography, and the importance of following current local fire and evacuation authorities. On the Washington coast, a Coast Guard rescue illustrated how quickly weather and water conditions can turn dangerous. The Coast Guard said 2 kiteboarders were swept out to sea near Damon Point in Grays Harbor County on August 11th. Sector Columbia River sent a 47-foot motor lifeboat crew, a 29-foot response boat small crew, and an MH-60 Jayhawk helicopter crew from Air Station Astoria. According to the Coast Guard, low clouds and poor visibility complicated the search. The helicopter crew rescued a woman from a sandbar, then was directed by Ocean Shores police to a second person stranded on a rock jetty. The crew hoisted the man to safety and landed at Ocean Shores Municipal Airport, where both people were transferred to emergency medical services. That official account corrects the earlier shorthand that said the helicopter took both people to Astoria. The event is a reminder that rescue outcomes depend on quick reporting, coordinated responders, and difficult flying in changing coastal conditions. And in science, the August 12th total solar eclipse created a rare opportunity to study the sun's outer atmosphere, known as the corona. NASA said the eclipse path crossed Greenland, Iceland, and Spain, among other areas. The agency planned a high-altitude WB-57 research flight at roughly 50,000 feet, carrying specialized cameras to capture the corona in visible and infrared wavelengths. By flying along the moon's shadow, NASA said the aircraft could extend its observing window to nearly 3 minutes. From the ground, the longest viewing period for the corona on that path was expected to be 2 minutes and 18 seconds. The high altitude also placed the instruments above clouds and some lower atmosphere interference. It is a useful counterweight to the myth that an eclipse is merely a spectacle. It is also a carefully timed scientific experiment. The same moment that darkens the sky can reveal structures in the corona that are normally hidden by the sun's glare.
That is the TrendProof Report, 9 stories sourced and put in context. Subscribe for the next verified briefing and check the description for the full source record.